Yeah, I don't give a damn.
Nightmares. This is Sparta!
You don't love me! Yeah! That was awesome. You blew up the whole thing! Let's go destroy another game!
There we go.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our first episode of BW Flix, the Average Movie Critics. I am your host, James Martin, and it's my co-host over here, Brian Arndt. Yes, our first episode, man. This is exciting because we are here today. For people who are out there who love watching movies, we are here to critique movies for you. Not just movies, but older movies going all the way back, dating back to Nosferatu, silent movies, all the way up to Sinners, which we'll get into later. Look, I really enjoy movies. I like watching movies, but I also like talking about them too as well. So hey, we got Yenzo out here watching already. Cool.
What's up, Robbie?
What's going on, Robbie? So yeah, so this will be a situation where we're going to be discussing movies. We're going to rate them. We want you to be inclusive of it. So please, if you enjoy this, just like, subscribe, and share with your friends. And I'll mention that again at the end of the show. Let's give a brief introduction to myself. My name is James Martin again. Again, that's Brian Arndt. And I've been watching movies since I was this high, and fell in love with them ever since. And I can watch my favorite movies over and over again. Yes, I'm glad, Yenza, man. Same here. Brian, why don't you tell the viewers a little bit about yourself and your love of movies, man?
Yeah, I mean, movies have been something that's been instilled in me since I was in elementary school. I went to go see Oliver Twist when it came out. That tells you how old I am. So I mean, movies are great. I love movies, sports movies, action movies, Star Wars trilogies, Star Trek trilogies, all that stuff. Top Gun, all that stuff. I love that. I love movies. There are bad movies out there though, and that's what we're here for. So that we, can give our reviews. So yeah.
Absolutely. And there are movies so bad that they're good. They're cult movies. I mean, there's a lot of stuff out there. What did Yundu say right there? Just so we know.
He said Predator 1987 is his favorite movie.
I'm so old, Yenzer. I have it on DVD, sir, and I still pull it out every now and then and watch it. No streaming for me. Actually, not true. I'm just kidding. As a matter of fact, the movie that we are going to discuss today, first our inaugural episode, we'll be discussing the 1978 remake of Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Yes, this is a great movie. I don't want to say exactly great or great not, but the movie was directed by Philip Kaufman, excuse me, and it has a deep star-studded cast. I mean, Donald Sutherland is one of the players. Brooke Adams as Elizabeth Driscoll. Donald Sutherland plays Matthew Bennell, the main protagonist, and the Brooke Adams Elizabeth Driscoll is the main antagonist as well. Jeff Goldblum, he's in the movie. His name is Jack Belichick, not the coach, but not Bill Belichick, but Jack Belichick, and he's the second protagonist. And Veronica Cartwright is Nancy Belichick, his wife, and last but not least, Leonard Nimoy, our favorite Spock. Live Long and Prosperous is in the movie, as well as he's a psychiatrist, Dr. David Kibner. And with that said, if you want to know where to go watch this movie, you can watch it on Tubi with ads, of course. If you don't like ads, don't watch Tubi. But the ads are, to be frank, the ads are very short, so it's not that bad. And it doesn't cut the movie up or chop it up like you would see back in the day on TBS or any other channel. that would chop where the words were supposed to be a curse word, and it turns out to be something totally
swearing
different.
And gore, trust me. Yeah, swearing
and look like you, yes, and look like you were watching a kung fu movie with the terrible. What do you call it? I can't even think of that one. But you know what I mean.
Yeah. When they speak Japanese or something like that.
The dubbing. I couldn't think of it, but dubbing. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh. Yes, Tubi has a lot of great movies, man. And I want to speak out to my younger audience out there that don't. I've been talking to some people out there, that don't really get a chance to watch older movies. And I try to think back when I was about 20, 22. I didn't watch a lot of black and whites, but I had a lot of uncles that did. I mean, that watched Twilight Zone, that watched Star Trek, that watched, To Kill a Mockingbird, different things like that. These were great movies once I got an opportunity to watch them. If you can look past the no CGI, sometimes the bad makeup and the bad stuff, that special effects that were in movies, the storytelling was impeccable. Great storytelling in a lot of these older movies. And as decades pass along, technology improved, and you would have people like Steven Spielberg or what's my man, Star Wars, George Lucas. And yes, and you would see how they were pioneers and innovators in how they created, different special effects, and it was just great. And of course, the sound effects that they would use for certain sounds. Time has improved, and obviously we gotten to the point where now you don't even have to be on location anywhere. You can just be in the studio with a green background and like, what's the movie, Avatar, prime example. They probably never left the studio at all for their movies, and it had a $600 million budget for that. But I mean, obviously, it made a crap ton of money too. But that being said, let's get back to Invasion of Body Snatchers. Before we get into our review of this movie. Brian's going to show us a brief clip of the movie, so you get an idea of what it is. That way, if you haven't seen the movie, and by the way, if you haven't seen the movie, I'm just going to give you a note that there are spoilers here. We're not the ones that don't hide the movie. We're going to talk about the movie in depth. We're going to talk about what we like, what we didn't like, and we're going to give spoilers. So if you don't want to watch the show with spoilers, don't watch it. Don't watch this show, because we're definitely going to have spoilers. The genre of this particular movie will be a sci-fi thriller, but we do all types. So you're going to have rom-coms, unfortunately, Yenzer, if you don't like that. You're going to have action, melancholy thrillers, horror, whatever it may be, romance, that kind of anything goes on here. So we will definitely be talking about any and everything. And again, Yenzer, since you're watching right now, I will tell you, we'll put our email out there where you can name the movie that you want us to talk about or review. And if it falls in a list, if it's something we think we're interested in talking about, we'll put it on the list. And then when it's time to talk about the movie, we'll give credit to you regarding the movie and then the movie you wanted us to review. But yeah, Body Snatchers. Now let's watch the clip, and then we'll get back to the movie review.
What we're going to do first is we're going to watch a little bit of the trailer that was with the movie, just like the end of the trailer, and you'll be able to see the gist of it.
And here we go.
Oh, come on now. Is it like that?
Wait, okay, get a load of me.
All right. What the heck is going on? Technical difficulties. That's what's going on. Okay, we're trying here.
Houston, we have a problem.
Well, it's running, but it's not running. Jack off. All right.
Okay.
All right. Well, We'll try this a different way. Hold on, just one more time. Yeah, happens with the intros of shows, folks. We always got to have somebody that's messing up.
We live in a land of second chances.
Yeah. Really? You're not gonna? You're just still not gonna do it, huh? Okay. All righty. Well, we'll go to this one then. Hopefully this one works. And maybe that, there we go. You got something.
Here we go. Lights, camera, action.
Why is this not showing up here? Yep, he is. Yeah. Just started out.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you. We'll be
and thank you for your patience.
Yeah, because we're really having a hard time here with this video thing going on here. I don't know what's going on, why it's not working here. This is just not right. Okay. Well, let's just go into the thing, and then I'll see what's going on with this movie thing here.
We can bypass, yes, the video right now, but the one thing, let's see, 1 month until April. That's yes. Okay. So cool. So talking about Invasion of the Body Snatchers, this came out in 1978. Again, starring Donald Sutherland, Brooke Adams, Jeff Goldblum, Leonard Nimoy, Nancy Cartwright. So the movie starts off with it really goes into the movie, Bree, telling you exactly what's going on. It doesn't hide the fact of what you don't have to look for anything. It really just goes into the fact that, okay, we're at some barren planet. It gives you an idea that there's some translucent or transparent alien spores that are leaving their planet because they've exhausted all their resources and they're traveling through space. They drifting off into space and obviously touching bases with other planets and taking their resources. And of course, in line is Earth. Earth comes up, and you see them into the Earth atmosphere through rain. And so when it's entering rain, it sort of the spores sort of what do you say?
He said if nobody's dropping anything for it, he'll give us some cool things to ask.
Cool, appreciate it. So with that said, oh sure, go ahead and ask a question. Okay. I'll keep talking. Let me see.
When's your birthday, man?
In April?
I would think so. Yeah, I think that's when his birthday is. Because he's got one more.
And we'll tell you happy birthday. Come back in April again. We're going to have this once a week. So when you come back in April, we'll send you a shout out just for being one of our first few viewers. With that being said, I'll continue talking about the movie here. Independence Day. All right. Cool.
All right.
Cool.
Yeah. You can see when the 4th falls on it. If it falls on a Tuesday, we can do that for
and we'll have to do the review, maybe the 2 Independence Day movies, or Born on the 4th of July, or whatever it may be. We will definitely figure out a movie for you. Just come back and let us know, or hit us in the email as well. So with that being said, the movie, as they're going through space and they're entering the Earth's atmosphere, the translucent or transparent alien spores have dropped off into plant life, and they're becoming symbiotic with the plants. And unbeknownst to us, we don't know what's going on with this alien life until you start seeing people walking around and they're strange looking. They're not showing any type of emotion. And at the beginning of this movie, you see a teacher with children, and she's telling them to go pick plants. So that's kind of weird to me. Why is this lady telling these children to go pick plants and grab the specific plant that they see? Right there, it didn't dawn on me that teachers have what they have is control over children, seemingly. They have control over children. So you're teaching them. You have children are open. They're open-minded. They're open to what you're doing or what you're saying. They're impressionable. That's the word I'm looking for. So she's impressing upon them to pick the plants. Unbeknownst to them, these plants are deadly. They're alien, deadly plants that people take into their homes, and they spread like wildfire. And I want to say one thing about this part in the movie. There's a cameo, an uncredited cameo for anybody who's seen this movie but never really paid attention to it, and I didn't until recently. That Robert Duvall is sitting as a priest monitoring this teacher with the kids with a blank expression on his face, swinging on a children's swing, and it's creepy because it's just like you don't know what to think of that and what's going on with that. Why is he sitting there staring at the children and the teacher? And why does he have a blank stare? But he is one of the what they're called one of the pod people. And so the movie continues to go. It starts bringing about our protagonists. We start seeing who they are. Matthew Brennell. Matthew is a health inspector, and you kind of see the direction of the movie. You got people who understand, who have science backgrounds, and they understand plant life, and they understand food and disease and everything else that goes on. And you have people who are of intellectually curious minds. We're talking about Jeff Goldblum and his wife Veronica. Veronica has a bed and a bath spa club, health club, and Jeff Goldblum is some sort of psychologist, I would imagine, and of course Dr. Leonard Nimoy is a psychiatrist, a well-renowned psychiatrist. But as the movie progresses, you start noticing weird things happen. You start noticing people are different. Their interactions with different people. We're talking about Brooke when she's at home with her husband. He's happy one day, wakes up in the morning. Next, she tells him she finds a plant, sits it right next to him. She wakes up. He's already out of the bed, and the jar is broken with the plant. And his whole expression is totally different from what it was. He was happy, excited watching a basketball game of the Warriors. Next morning, he can care less about the Warriors. He's going to dump trash out in this weird garbage truck that's showing different things that it looks like some sort of plant-like stuff that they're smashing moss in the trash can. And once he watches the trash can go off. He doesn't stare back. She sees him out the window. He doesn't even look back. He doesn't sense her at all. And it's just so weird, man. It's just, I mean, up to this far, what do you think about that? I mean, what's going on with that particular parts of the movie?
Yeah, I mean, up to that part, everything seems to be working in line of the plants taking over the human beings one at a time. And it's really kind of funny you mentioned that too, because she's like a botanist, isn't she? I mean, she works in a health department. She's kind of like a botanist, so she does a lot of planting because she has that plant room off her room there, and then on top of that, she works in the health department as well, and he's a scientist as too, right? Scientist. So I mean, it it's kind of like they're picking their people that they want to get first, and then they're gonna, keep going on until they get everybody, which is the premise of the movie. But yeah, to that point, yeah, it was good up to that point. When we go on further, I'm gonna tell you the things that I was saying.
Well, the movie keeps you interested. We can get into that later, Rune Bay. I would say I really like it. It's a crap ton of movies we can talk about, but that are my favorite. But I would say this movie here particularly, it doesn't waste any time. Like I said, I mean, it goes like once they realize something's wrong, she lets her coworker work. Have a great night. She lets her coworker know that something's wrong with her husband, and she's not really sure what's going on with them, and it doesn't waste any time, because as you start seeing their interaction with multiple people, that I mean, we're talking about Matthew goes to the cleaners to go drop his clothes off, and because he thinks she's being paranoid about her husband. If he's not himself, that kind of thing. Maybe he's trying to, be rational about it and say maybe this is what's going on with it. That's what's going on with it. Maybe you can talk to the psychiatrist friend. Thank you. Appreciate you. Maybe the psychiatrist friend in regards to not trying to particularly see if she's crazy or not. And I hate to say that word, or see if she has any mental issues, but to see if he can rationalize why there's sudden changes in her husband or live-in boyfriend. I mean, I can be honest with you, I couldn't even tell which one is which because they left it kind of open, whether it was her husband or her live-in boyfriend. Either way, it was her significant other. But that being said, this movie is rapid, and then lets you know in 3 days or so that it has rapidly spread through multiple people. I mean, when you go from one part at the cleaners, the little guy says his wife's not right. That's not my wife.
The Asian dude.
Yes.
The wife was like,
that's not my wife. And she's looking with that blank stare. And the next day, he's saying everything's fine. She's okay.
Creepy.
Now. Very creepy. And it lets you know how fast that this takeover is happening right now. And people to understand out there in the audience, want to understand how this is happening. Well, there are plant pods that the little plants that I mentioned, they grow into this big, huge pod. And if you fall asleep, it has these tentacles, moss-like tentacles that touches you and extracts your DNA, your everything, and it lets out a clone of you, and your original existence is gone. And so going through to the middle of this movie, man, it's just you're starting to notice that okay, everybody's starting to believe now. They're starting to see because they have their own experiences with all these plants that are out there and that are trying to take over, but they somehow escape those plants. They very close moments. Jeff Goldblum had one. His nose bled, and then the plant embryo, I guess you can say, because it wasn't at a full human state yet or a complete clone state. It had no eyes, it had no nose or mouth, but it had the form of a human. It had the 6'4" length of the Jeff Goldblum character. And to be 1978, I was impressed with the special effects because, again, we're not talking CGI here. We're talking just people having to use their ingenuity and their craftsmanship, their study, and to give credit to Thomas Berman. If anybody knows his name out there, he doesn't have a lot of credit for movies, big name or big budget movies. He did a lot of low budget movies, but the movies that he's done a fantastic job, and I have to give him credit on this movie as well, because the plants and the human forms, the clone, everything, what he did with the movie was incredible for what it was. Again, we're speaking 1978. For those of you who have not seen the movie, don't be surprised at what you're seeing, but give it an opportunity to watch. But with that being said, great up to this point. I don't know. I think, Brian, if you got something you want to say about a certain part of the movie that was weird, go ahead and expound upon it for me.
Well, the whole relationship between Brooke Adams' character and Elizabeth and Donald Sutherland's character was weird. Considering the main focuses of the movie, it was kind of creepy on Donald Sutherland's part in a part of the movie where it's just near the end where she's trying to go to sleep and she's like half with it. She's so sleepy, she's half with it, and he's trying to get her away from everybody and trying to take a ship. They get down a pier and they're trying to take a ship to get away from there, but the ship is actually transporting the pods as well. So it's like they can't get away from everything. And by the time he comes back, she's changed into the pod character. But during that time, when he's trying to snap her out of it and He's like, I love you. It's like to a creepy point. I'm like, okay, now see, to this day and age, that would be really, really creepy the way you're doing that. And you know she's got a man, so I mean, I know he's gone to the pod people, but that's not the point. You're kind of creepy. Then she comes, but then you kind of look at the movie too. I'm just looking at it from the aspect of how people look at relationships now. And then she comes over to his apartment earlier in the movie, and it's just like all in front of him. I'm like, well, maybe she deserves some of this. I don't want to say she deserves it, but at the same time, I mean, she's all on him basically. And she's a co-worker. I think she's like he's her boss, actually.
No, I don't think so. I think they're in two different departments. They're in two different departments. But this is what I look. Let me tell you what I got from that relationship. These two. So Matthew and Elizabeth are friends, but this is the human aspects. If you're in a relationship, you probably shouldn't be in a friendship with the opposite sex or whatever it may be out there. If you have another person that because one of them has an interest in the other. And so Donald, you can see that he was a standby to her. So he was her friend and maybe emotional support. And to him, Matthew likes her. He's always liked her. As a matter of fact, he's cared for her. You can see the way he acts around her, how supportive he is. And but she just happened to be in a relationship with the dentist. And with that said, and that's why him saying he loved her, and you can see the emotion in his face and him crying at the end when he lost her, because he couldn't be with her. But I mean, just let's go back to the one little thing when he said when they're sitting down and she's talking about the situation, how different her significant other is, and he's making food and she's eating. He's trying to calm her down, and she said, "You don't believe me? You think I'm crazy?" And he said, "Can you still do that thing with your eyes?" And she does it where she has like a rhythmic, like nystagmus type thing. And they both start laughing. And he said, "Yeah, you're not crazy." And so it was pretty funny. And that part, I want to get into that part as to compare to what the pod people were. Look, I also want to get to the point when you mentioned when they were towards the end. When they were towards the end, and she fell down, and again, you can't go to sleep because the plants are everywhere. So you fall asleep, they're going to attach to you. They're in the grass, they're in the plants, they're any type of plant, like they were in grass. And so she laid down, and they heard the music. And this is what's really eerie about this part is that, and it's symbolic. I'm going to say it's symbolic because they were at the gate and there was a ship and the bagpipes were playing Amazing Grace. So Amazing Grace to me was a symbolization of hope. It was a symbolization of hope, meaning there's an opportunity to escape and to get somewhere else. Even Matthew said, we can get away. We can get on a ship and sail away. And of course, like you said, once he ran and saw that it was just people pulling up more of those pods, they were shipping them out everywhere. So they were trying to take over the world. And so he lost hope, and the music got cut off. And also, next thing you know, because the music was on a loudspeaker. And so when it got cut off, they just started talking about the weather and everything else. Again, he lost all hope. And he came back, and even the last bit of hope was lost when he saw that Elizabeth had fallen asleep. And you can see when you fall asleep, the humans, things that you're starting to dry up. They're sucking all of your essence. They're sucking all of the water from your body. So you can see your skin was peeling and everything else. And so it happened. That's when you say he loved her. And I didn't think it was creepy that he said he loved her, because obviously he loved her from the beginning. He just couldn't be with her. But I get where you're coming from and how you see that. But I can see if that's somebody he loved, but he didn't act upon it. But when it was time, when he knew that the man was gone out of the picture, that's when he made his move. And clearly she loved him too. But you know what? When he said he loved her, she never said it back. She never said it back. And and so even in the end, he was still friend zoned.
That's what I'm saying. It was creepy in that sense, because I mean, it's like dude, I mean, and he was like really, really going at her with the love stuff. I mean, I understand that he did love her. That's not the point, but there goes to a point where you go from borderline, okay, I know you love me, blah, 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 that's cool, to creepy, which he did kind of go over that line in that scene. I was like, dude, hold up. The girl is sleeping. I'm kind of wondering where you're going with this, or and she's trying to, you're trying to wake her up. Your best thing is not to be telling her that kind of stuff. Wake her up, shake her to death, or something like that.
I think he knew she was gone. I think he knew she was gone, and then when he saw her fall into his hand and sink, he just and melt, and that's where he really lost it. But I want to get into a point, Brian, about this movie. There's parts of the movie that seemed. I mean, this is a really good movie, but it had its flaws. It wasn't without its flaws and without its contradictions. To me, one of the contradictions is going back to when Leonard Nimoy's character, Dr. David Kibner, he obviously at the time when he turned into one of the pod people, or when his pod person came and obviously he died. It mentioned that once they got David and Elizabeth and Jack and Nancy, he was telling them that they're going to put them to sleep, and it'll be quick, and you won't have any emotion. You won't have any. You'll be void of all of that. You won't have to worry about any emotion or anything like that. When they escape and they get to Matthew's apartment, and he goes to the roof and falls asleep. Obviously, there's a pod there, and it's trying to reach his hand. So it gets enough to the point where it's made like four pods, because I think all of them were falling asleep except one person. Nancy was the one up. And she comes up. You can hear her voice saying, Matthew, and she's screaming. And he gets up, and they escape. But while they're trying to escape, he comes back before they leave the building, and he finds a way out down the stairs. He takes a hoe and hits it in the face, the one that's going to be him. And by the time the people come up, they're pie people. When he does that, they're screaming. That screech, that horrible alien scream that makes me it makes you cringe, because they have I'm looking like the way they're looking, and they're pointing. And they make that god awful sound. And so it's freaking me out. But I'm saying, isn't that an emotion? Isn't that a form of emotion, whether it's anger or
surprise or
glorification? It's some form of, yes, yeah, exactly. Or you killed one of ours, so we got to get you. And so now, to me, I was like, okay, you're not void completely of emotion. You're expressing some feeling there. And so, one, to put them to sleep, I think they want to do more than put them to sleep after that happened, because every time they affected or tried to kill a pod or a pod person, the others would respond accordingly. And of course, at the end, for those of you who don't like what do you call it? Spoilers. Yes, Donald Sutherland. Obviously, everybody gets changed except Nancy at the end. Nancy, the one I thought was changed at some point, she's the one that survives. And so my point is, how can you? Does the world fully just get changed? Let me see. For losing momentum in the final act, where some critics suggest it runs too long and devolves into a conventional chase scene. Losing, I don't think so. I have to respectfully disagree, because it still caught me off guard. I thought he would just blend in, because she's the one tell you to don't. We can fool them. Just don't show any emotion. You can blend in with them. And so I thought he would blend in. And it caught me off guard. I mean, I didn't think he would change. And then I thought Nancy was going to change because like they saw her in the stairwell, and she let them know. They didn't let her know that Jeff was done, or her husband Jack. But I thought I don't think it lost momentum. I just think that it went in a different direction to fool you.
Mhm.
Now,
Yeah.
if you watch the movie, I like to know if you were fooled by Donald Sutherland's character at the end when he changed and he
Right. When Nancy
at the
came up
end.
to him thinking that he was all right.
Yes, and she just screamed. She's like, Matthew, Matthew. Ah.
She's
So
like,
that
yeah,
really,
no.
and she just started screaming. When I
Mhm.
first saw this movie as a youngster, he caught me off guard. It totally caught me off guard. I didn't think he had changed, but I mean, what do you think, B? At the end, do you agree with
Yeah, I
Yinger and
mean, they
his
made it like
comments?
he didn't cheat. I mean, they made it so much like he didn't change because they show him at his office desk doing emotional things. Um, and then he gets up and he falls in line. So you think he's playing them like he's one of them, and he's just conforming to what they're doing so he can, he can live his life. And as he goes out, and then Nancy comes away and she's sitting on it. Well, she was coming up, I think she's a little park or something that was outside his job. She came up there and she's like, "Oh, Matthew, man." And he was like, and she was like, "Oh, hell no, you doing too? Oh, man."
I think she
So
lost it.
you have
She
the
knew the
hope.
end was there.
I think the thing you have is hope that one person is still not changed. So that's where the movie goes off at. And it kind of gives you hope. Well, if one person can survive this whole situation through this part of the movie, there could be other people that are doing the same thing. But it's got to be hard. I mean, you figure about this. It's yeah. It was a long time since I had to rewatch it again too. It's got to be hard though, because think of this. I don't know how many days or weeks or even months that the pods had come to take over, and how long it took them to actually take over the populace of San Francisco. But it's like, how do you not sleep for that many days and still be coherent? You're on mute, James.
I'm with you. I'm with you. This is where I was too. I was thinking regarding where is Nancy? Where has she been hanging at? And how is she not changed yet? Because at some point you're going to fall asleep. And I mean, even Elizabeth was taking. He told her, Elizabeth to take 5 NoDoz to not fall
Mhm.
asleep, and she still laid down and went to sleep. So Nancy must have been scared out of her mind to where she just wasn't going to go to sleep.
Hell no, I'm not
Maybe she
going
was
to sleep.
drinking coffee.
Right.
Yes, but I mean, she lost hope when she saw Matthew. She lost total hope.
Yeah.
Yeah, Yinzer. Look, it's a lot of movies that came way before me, and there's some great movies out there you
Mhm.
should check out. And if you stick with us on this show, man, we're gonna be going through a lot of movies on this show. And this is one to me. This is one of the great movies. I really loved it. Every time I revisit, it holds up. And we got a rating system. So I mean, I don't know, B, if you want to talk more about the movie, you want anything else you want to cover regarding
Let me
it?
see if I can do see if I can pull this up now. Maybe not. It's just not giving me. This is just retarded. Anyway. uh
Well, there is a part in the movie I want to say. Again, this we mentioned earlier that this is a remake. This is a remake
Mhm.
for the 1956 movie Body Snatchers. That was a great movie too. If anybody out there wants to check it out, please do. And it had a cameo. I mean, this movie had a cameo appearance, a 1978 version with I believe was his name Kevin McCarthy. Is that his name?
Yeah.
Kevin McCarthy was in the older one, and he was the main protagonist, similar to what Donald Sutherland's character was. The car pulled up at the red light, and he hit the windshield, and he said, "They're coming! They're here! They're here! They're coming! Run!" And went off, and of course the car hits him, and he dies. He only has a short part in the movie, but it was pretty cool to see him in the movie because he
Yeah.
played a great character. He played a great role in the original movie. And there was a movie in the '90s, I believe, so that was called Body Snatchers as well as another remake. And so that tells you how good the original story was and how good the movie was. Because when you think about it, I do want to say this. Most times we think about aliens coming in. Aliens are not uh, spores, or they're not microbes or anything like that. They're
They're in your
usually
face.
some there is some xenomorph, some sort of animal. I mean, like humanoid type creature that comes in your face, like you said, and are going to rip you to shreds. But this one is so subtle, and that's what makes it more scary because you don't see it coming. You don't see it coming at all, and you don't see how fast and swift it comes. And the emotionless people, you catch up to them a little bit, but not to the degree to notice that something's different. But not they didn't do it fast enough to where they could know, because these people were manufacturing. They had large greenhouses where they was making producing these large pods and sending them off. Yeah, that it still is, sir. It still is, sir.
Jeepers Creepers is another one that freaks me out a little
Very,
bit too.
very. Those are some seriously scary movies, man,
Mhm.
and they hold up. Pumpkinhead definitely holds up.
Yeah.
Children of the Corn. There's a lot of movies out there that hold up, and like I said, we're gonna get into them at some point. And but again, Yinzer, anybody else that's still watching, uh, we can. Oh, with this movie, before we get into that point, with this movie, we want to give a shout out to one particular person. Myself will give a shout out to one of the actors or director or special effects person, and Brian will do the same. Uh, I'm gonna do. We got two here. I'm gonna give a shout out to Donald Sutherland and give a small bio to him. Rest in peace as well. And Brian is gonna give one to Brooke
Adams.
Adams. So both the protagonists that were in the movie. So I'll start with mine. Donald Sutherland was born in Canada, believe it or not. He was born in Canada in 1935, July 17, 1935. And of course, he passed away, unfortunately, not 2 years ago in June in Miami, Florida. But he went to Victoria University, Toronto, London Academy of Music and Dramatic Arts, and he had an illustrious career, 6 decades. That's a long time. I haven't even lived 6 decades, and this man had a whole career for 6 decades, and it was
Mhm.
it was grand. He was awarded one Emmy, one Golden Globe, and one honorary Oscar in his career. And I think they called him probably the best actor to never have won an Oscar. And obviously, finally in 2017, he got an honorary one. But I mean, his career started with some war movies, MASH, Dirty Dozen, Kelly's Heroes in the late 60s and early 70s. And then he did a few other movies like Clute, Don't Look Now, Animal House, which is funny, is all outdoors. Uh, Original People, The Eye of the Needle, Max Dugan Returns. Max Dugan Returns is a criminally underrated comedy with Jason Robart. My wife and I saw that movie. We watched it several times. A Dry White Season, 1990. He did JFK and 6 Degrees of Separation. I try not to watch that too often.
Good old Will Smith in that one, yeah.
Yeah. 1990s Disclosure, Without Limits. In the 2000s, he did Space Cowboy, which is a very funny movie. The Italian Job, Pride and Prejudice, and he was President Snow in the Hunger Games, if you all remember that.
Mhm.
But also in the 1960s and 70s, he was also a political activist. He was an anti-war political activist. He fought hard against him and several actors. They produced what's called the Free Theater Association, or Free the Army. They called it for short. Tour. It was with other notable actors. It was alternative to Bob Hope's USO tour. So, and he was married 3 times, stayed with his wife till death, the last one. And he had 5 children. One of them, you all should know, is Kiefer Sutherland, the very well known and in his own right, a very respected actor, best known for Jack Bauer in 24, if you remember that.
Mhm.
But yeah, Donald Sutherland, and then he also was awarded made an officer of the Order of Canada. It's a high award merit in 1978, and it also went up to being promoted to the Companion of the Order of Canada in 2019. So a very well respected man. Again, rest in peace, Donald Sutherland, and thank you for movies like this. We appreciate you, and you're missed, sir. Thank you very much. And B, you can go with yours.
So the secondary co-star, the co-star in this movie, Brooke Adams, she was born February 8th, 1949 in New York City. Still alive, and she's married to Tony Shalhoub, who plays what?
Monk.
Who was famous for playing, Monk. Which I thought was very odd. Anyway, I'm trying to picture both of them. It's like those two don't really match up, but that's what it is. But anyway, she also is her father was Robert K. Adams, who was a producer, actor, and former vice president of CBS. Which I guess that's where she's got a lot of her gumption from. And that's probably the reason why she's not really too much in the limelight like a lot of these actors are, because she knows all of the behind the scenes things. So she kind of keeps out of the limelight. She's also a descendant of John Adams and John Quincy Adams, presidents.
Oh, cool.
She attended the High School of Performing Arts and the School of American Ballet. And in her youth, took dance classes at her aunt's studio in Montage, Michigan. She's been in movies. Most of the movies she's been in. Monk has 13 Ghosts. Was in 13 Ghosts. Yeah. Yep. He sure was. Yeah.
But not as Monk.
Yeah, not as Monk. Her movies are really kind of like her big movies are mostly horror movies. Well, Day of Heaven's not a horror movie, but it was Dead Zone was a horror movie.
It's a great movie.
And she's been in some movies. She hasn't been really. I think the Body Snatchers gave her notoriety, to tell you the truth. I think she became really big after that. I mean,
was she in coma? Was she in coma? She was in Car Wash?
Yeah, she was in Car Wash. Her role was Terry. She was one of the women at the car wash. Let's see. Let's see how something. She was in Cuba, The Dead Zone, Man on Fire in '87, Babysitter's Club. Yeah, she's in something. A lot of these movies you would never know because they weren't. The Accidental Husband. She was in The Accidental Husband. And the last movie she was in, Snapshots in 2018 was her last movie she was in. She's got another one that's out on video, but this is actually a movie that was at a theater type of movie.
Okay.
I also want to kind of go over the rest of the guys, just a brief synopsis on the other actors in here. You had Robert Duvall, like I think you mentioned before. He was the priest on The Swing, which is pretty funny. He was uncredited in this film for that. But if you go to IMDb, you'll see that he's credited. He's uncredited in there, but his name is in there. Art Hinkle was the boyfriend / husband, whatever the heck he was. He was born in Halifax, Nova Scotia, Canada. So he's another Canadian. He's in Porky's. And he was also in a Dallas series.
Yeah, so, in Porky, he was the police brother. Yeah.
Yep.
Of the guy that kept getting beat up. Yes, sure.
Yeah. And then Kevin McCarthy, of course, we mentioned him. He was the running man. He played in the original Body Snatchers in '56 as the doctor. What's his name?
I'm not sure exactly.
Donald Sutherland played.
Matthew Brennell.
Yeah. And then we have Leonard Nimoy. We all know him from Star Trek fame. He's another one that passed from us. He was with us from 3/26/31 to 3/27/15. He hosted In Search Of too. So he was Dr. Kibner. And of course, we got Jeff Goldblum, born 10/22/52. in West Homestead, Pennsylvania. He's known for Jurassic Park, and of course, what we who was it that mentioned that?
The Fly.
Ronan, Arun Bay, Independence Day.
Yes.
He was in The Fly, and his current filming is Oz in Wicked. He is Oz in Wicked. So those are just the follow-ups to what we have as those. And let me tell you something. The acting in it wasn't bad, but considering it was the start of some of these guys' careers, I think Leonard Nimoy did a pretty good job acting. He was pretty seasoned before that anyway. But because he had a Star Trek, and then he did other movies before that. But like Adams, sometimes you can tell, and Hinkle, really. Jeff Goldblum was young at that time, and I think that was one of his first movies that he starred in, one of the first ones early, and so his acting was a little bit off as well. You could tell a majority of these characters were not as seasoned as Donald Sutherland and Leonard Nimoy in this, so it was interesting to watch their interaction. Even Hinkle.
Yeah, I could say probably the script was not. It wasn't a listed, but I mean, it definitely. Yeah, The Fly definitely was disgusting, but it was. I thought it was decent enough of what it was. Because typically horror or thriller like movies like that, you're more into, trying to get to the point of what the movie's about. And like I said, they didn't waste any time with doing that. That was a great movie.
Yeah,
now, with that said, we don't have a lot of time here. Let's try to keep moving here. I wanted to go over how we rate the movies. We need to rate the movies. So we have a rating system, Yinzer, and the audience, whoever's watching out there. When Brian and I are done with the movie, we rate the movies. We will give it, like you give it a 5-star or a 2-star. We're going to give it a bucket of popcorn, or 2, 3, 4, 5 buckets of popcorn. 1 being the lowest, being it was pretty bad. 2 being it was okay, but it's still not something worth another watch. 3 being average, where you thought it was okay, maybe I'll watch it again. 4 being very good, I really liked it, and I wouldn't mind watching it again. And 5 being an instant classic, meaning it's just, great. And then even with 5, you add extra butter. We have a term where we're going to add extra butter to the movie, meaning it was just elite. It was the best thing you've seen since. What would I say? The best Gladiator, maybe, Gladiator being one of those movies where I would give Gladiator. I hate to even ruin that because we haven't even rated a movie yet, but I would give it 5 buckets of popcorn with extra butter. But this movie here, I'm going to give it 4 buckets of popcorn. I thought it was really good, and it still holds up for what it was. 1978. It's an older movie, considering the production, and there's no CGI, no internet, and it made like 25 million worldwide on a very low budget of 350,000, I believe, something like that. So it was incredible at the time, and like I said, it still holds up. I like the direction in the movie. I like the special effects for what it was, and the acting was I thought was slightly above average, but I give it 4 buckets of popcorn.
All right. Well, I'm gonna give it. I think it was average, an average movie. I gave it 3 buckets. It was creepy in more ways than one, but it was visually effective. Put it that way. You didn't know who was who. In fact, there's a time when Leonard Nimoy, leaves the situation, and he goes to the car with the party of the people that are already pod people. And then that's when he's actually a pod person. It's like, oh, damn, he's actually a pod person. And it's kind of weird. And you think that he tries to give you subtle hints about that. The fact that he tries to thwart the whole situation with the missing girlfriend when they go to her apartment, and where Matthew finds that there was a pod there that would look just like her, and she was getting sucked into that pod and by laying in a bed. And when he goes there, all that stuff's cleaned up. Of course, she's gone because he came in there and took her away, but the pod is gone. It's pretty funny if you ever watch the movie, kind of look at where the imprint is of where the body was. Is actually got a smiley face pot, and then there's two like pots where her breasts were at. It's kind of stupid, but it's funny at the same time. You really got to look at his body print. And that's when the Leonard Nimoy decided to say, "Hey, you're just thinking all this. You're schizoid. I don't know what's going on with you." But really, he's letting you know, I'm one of the pod people. I'm protecting them. So if it finds you crazy, you'll go to the police station or take you in, and then you'll get absorbed by them because they're all pod people too. So he was just trying to help out the pod people. And then you know that for sure once he gets to the car. It's like, well, dang. But yeah.
Well, cool.
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right. So with that being said, yeah, cool. Thanks, Jensen, man. So at the end, let's see. I know we got short time here. I'm gonna say something real quick, and then we're gonna roll. So we just ask that you again participate if you want to participate. Do you have you got the
yeah, it's
banner?
on the top there, a banner there.
Okay, on the top, you see up there. Please email us at bwflix2026@gmail.com.
Or
Any questions, movies,
want us to
absolutely.
review. What we're going to probably do, I think the premises of this show, we're going to try to do 2 movies if we can. And maybe if you guys send in enough requests, one will be a movie we pick, and then the other one will be the movie you guys pick. So just participate. It'd be great. I mean, we want to hear people. This is new. It's a startup. So, bear with our technical difficulties at this point. That probably won't happen next weekend. I mean, probably it's not going to happen next weekend because, I'm not having that this weekend. No, not happening, buddy.
And finally, we ask that I'm going to repeat again that if you like this show, if it was good for you, please like, share, and subscribe. We thank you. We appreciate your support. We want to give you good content again, but just put it out there so that we can build and build a great product for you guys out there. But thank you for watching. And oh yes, I got to send a shout out to next week before we do that. The next movie that we're going to review, because it's Oscar week. And that being said, this movie is nominated for 16 Oscars. I think the most in Oscar history is Sinners. It came out in 2025. And be sure to tune in because we're going to talk in depth about that movie prior to Oscars. And we may have another movie. If you guys send us one soon this week, we'll try to do another one secondary. But I think it may take up more time than anything. But thank you for watching. And we will see you next episode.
Peace.
Cool.
Oh.